Hey, howdy, party people. I think we're just gonna have a quick look at the original actual announcement trailer from 2018, just for a bit of a laugh. Um, there's a lot of stuff in this trailer that might not make it to the early access launch, or might not make it even until after 1.0, but from the sounds of it, Simon is trying to make sure that as much of the stuff as possible from this trailer is available in early access. I'll point out a couple of examples as we go along. I apologize if I sound a little under the weather. I'm slightly unwell, but I'm getting over it, so bear with me. Alright, without further ado, let's just dive right in, huh? Love that little intro bit. Alright, now first off, what I love is how the world gen looks here. I know the whole system has probably been through hell and back since the game was at this point in its development, but man, that looks awesome, doesn't it? Just to note that's possible, even with custom world gen, which as far as we understand you can customize to some extent. Man, it just looks incredible, doesn't it? You see a little bit of everything here. You know, you see a lot of nice foliage. This nice little stream that runs down from the mountain looks quite nice. You see some structures, some ruins. I see a couple of players. They got some different items. There's been a lot of discussion lately over whether or not you can place items like this where they're resting against something in the world. I would be a little surprised if that's baked into the game, at least in exploration mode. But it wouldn't surprise me if you can do this as part of the machinima tools, or maybe even creative. We'll have to see when it comes out. But the one thing that Hytale has always had absolutely down packed is the impeccable vibes, and this just looks lovely, doesn't it? It's just it's the first thing you see, and for good reason. It perfectly captures the atmosphere of Hytale and the sense of adventure that it's supposed to bring with it. Mob behavior like this has been discussed a lot lately. Will we see stuff like that? It sounds like we will. You can see here a nice little farmstead. There's also been a lot of talk about the farming lately. Simon reiterates that there's basic farming systems in place, but it's not particularly advanced yet. And the food in general hasn't really been configured properly and set up for good use cases. But it does seem like it has the groundwork for some really cool farming. They said that they've explored automation a little bit in terms of what they could maybe do eventually, maybe involving NPCs a little bit. But as it stands right now, we shouldn't really expect any automation from the game for a little while. It wouldn't surprise me if it's one of their top priorities because people have been talking about it a lot. I do hope we see some. I think that'd be cool. I think it's a big part of Minecraft, especially modded Minecraft. And other voxel games focus on it so heavily. And when you have a game that has such nice cozy building vibes, I think adding a lot of farming mechanics just kind of makes sense. There's a lot of audience overlay there, or overlap. Okay, let's see here. I love that scarecrow. You see, there's an anvil, some various mobs here. This dog has been appearing in a lot of the screenshots and whatnot lately. In the creative video that they released, which I do hope to go over at some point, the player actually transforms into a dog in creative and flies around as a dog. And there's also a screenshot released of this particular dog mob riding a tortoise, which was very cute. You also see just some nice basic chickens here. I love the way that the mobs look in this game. It has such a nice consistent art style, and it's just so visually appealing. It looks absolutely lovely from every angle. Alright, got some tree chopping, some mining. I hope we see a little bit more mining soon. We haven't seen a lot of cave gameplay outside of a little bit of stuff from Zone 4. Here you've got a nice cozy house. Just looks lovely. Not a lot else to say. It just looks awesome. You also see a kitty cat. So hopefully we can have some pet cats in game. I know there's not really a huge taming or pet system set up yet. I do hope that they have something rudimentary there, just for cats and dogs at least for now. But I think it's a really exciting feature, and the cat looks pretty cute. I think it's important to remember a lot of this stuff was made with the machinima tools, so not all of it is super accurate to what you'll see in game. Let's go through some of these shots a little bit. See some rubble on the ground. We know you could pick up those stones and throw them elsewhere in the trailer. I don't know if that's in game, but I hope it is. Got a really nice scene here. I assume this must also be from Zone 1. Or, yeah, it's gotta be Zone 1. You see some very pretty deer, though. A nice stag. just looks lovely. The colored lighting in this game is so exciting. That's one thing I always wished Minecraft would get, and it just never has. It's probably very difficult to implement, but I'm just so glad that it's here and that everything just looks so pretty. You can build whatever you want in this, and it'll probably come out looking lovely, even if it's, you know, just a green top dirt cube. It's probably gonna look pretty alright, you know, by dirt cube standards anyway. I know I'm gonna make a dirt cube. So here, oh wait, these are Slothians. Yeah, of course. These are very, very well regarded in the community. Everybody's pretty excited about these guys. If you don't know, Simon, the original founder of the game that bought it back, he uses a sloth as his avatar pretty much everywhere. They look cool though. We recently saw a new picture of one kind of covered in sort of like tree armor that looked really nice. Again, the world gen here is just, ooh, I love it. This looks like it's underground, so I'm guessing this is probably underground in Zone 1 or maybe 4. 4's caves are supposed to be pretty layered based on some of the concept art. I don't know how much of that has survived all this time, but maybe this is one of the uppermost layers of the caves of Zone 4. But it looks absolutely lovely. I just love the way the fog looks, and there's some particles, you know, some mobs, you know, hanging out, walking around, doing their thing. It looks very pleasant and very very lived in. Of course, here you got a Quebec village. I guess this is the first shot of the Quebecs. These guys are like practically the mascot of the game. They're little tree-dwelling guys. They're adorable. They're pretty much constantly at war with the Chorks, which are like big burly creatures that they kind of just harass the Quebecs a lot. A lot of people talk about burning these guys' villages down. You know, it's that was a big thing for a while. I'd be lying if I said I'm not going to try it at some point just to see what happens. But I don't know. I like Quebecs. I think they're really well designed. I'm really excited to live amongst them for the first time when the game comes out. And their villages look lovely, of course. You know, all these little lanterns. I bet this looks awesome at night. You know, and you see a little frog here. Nice little frog. Or perhaps it's a toad, you know, I'm not exactly sure. But, a cute little bugger. And lots of cattails. The cattails look really nice. I wonder if they move around in the wind a little. Okay, here you got, what is this, Zone 3, I believe? It's kind of icy, boreal type stuff. You got some polar bears, one of them's taking a little swim. You got some icicles in the top left. The forest here looks lovely. I'm really interested in this building over here. This little, like, kind of cabin home. That looks nice. It also looks like it's in decent shape. I wonder if there's somebody living in there, you know. But and the ice looks really cool. I love the way that the ice is laid out. It's just super like realistic scattering of ice for an area like this. That looks really cool. This area, I believe this is Zone 2. It gets a lot of attention for its world gen, and rightfully so, because it looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, if you just sit here and just stare at this for a while and just soak it in, and it never gets old. You know, I can't wait to build stuff out here. It very much it reminds me of the dig site from the beginning of Jurassic Park. It just has that kind of vibe. I just love it though. I can't wait to see what this zone has to offer. It's very exciting, and it's just so pretty. Everything we see about it, it's like, how did they do that with the world gen? Imagine what it'll be like once they get the height limit up, you know? Because they've been talking about that a little bit, how it has a very specific set height limit right now, because they originally designed most of these systems way back when. And the height limit they have is still better than what Minecraft used to, but they are looking to hopefully increase that in the near future. But it looks great already. Just imagine what it'll look like in the future once they do get that raised. See some birds. So these are Scarix, kind of a bug, Zerg-like kind of creature. Yeah, they're pretty cool looking. I like them a lot. They're very much their own design. They don't look like any one thing too much. Again, just the mobs are so impressive in this game. On the one hand, I'm looking forward to fighting these guys. On the other hand, I don't want to see them ever. Like, ever, ever, ever. But, I mean, I guess the main concern should really be the, like, thousands of massive hornets flying around. I've never noticed that watching the trailer, but now that I'm looking at it, it's that's pretty unsettling. Maybe I don't want to build in Zone 2. maybe I want to run through it as fast as I can. But it looks pretty cool though. That's a lot of mobs. I believe this is one of the Chorks from Zone 1. You can also see the player wearing some armor. All the armor models look great. It's just super exciting to see what the player looks like, all decked out in gear with all kinds of different weapons and the nice animations that they have. But it's all without without breaking the aesthetic of the game too. All of it just looks so realistic and detailed and gorgeous, and it's so exciting. And again, I would just like to reiterate how beautiful the game is. This scene has a little bit of rain, which is really nice, but it's also super foggy because it's in kind of a swampy area. It just looks awesome. You also see some nice little glowing mushrooms. Very, very Terraria style, you know? Some combat. Looks so fun. Here's a little building time-lapse bit in one of like the boreal biomes. Not a lot to say other than it just looks awesome, and builds come out gorgeous in this game. I just can't wait to make a huge dirt cube full of chairs, you know? But no, really, I can't wait to get building in this game. It's so exciting. I mean, look at that. Oh. Notably, I'm gonna have something to say about that in a second. Notably, the hot air balloons. We've seen these around quite a bit. I'm really hoping they make the cut. They look really fun. I can't imagine they're too complicated, but that depends on if you really have any control over them or not. I just think it looks like a fun way to get around without being like super unfair or unbalanced. You do see some dogs. You see some targets for archery practice, which is kind of cool. We've seen those a lot. I'm guessing those are definitely in the game. So I'm excited to keep a few of those around and try to work on my aim a little bit. You know, try from different ranges in motion and whatnot. I wonder if there's some way to get these to move. That'd be kind of cool. Get some actual like solid aim practice in for PvP. That'd be kind of cool, right? There's also a nice well here. You can see there's like some steps going to a platform. This is a nice build. Like, I mean, you know, talking about what the game actually has aside, this is a nice build. This looks cozy. You know, I like this. I will say, this cliff right here, oof, gotta put a fence up, man. So just recently, Simon confirmed that this ram has just been added to the game as the second current rideable mount. That's this and horses, I believe he said. Which is cool. I mean, I think that's a great example of how he's really just like reviewing the trailer and going, okay, what can I do that would be like an easy to medium win that would get it closer to the trailer vision? Because of course, you know, you're going to get a lot of superficial people who try the game during early access and say, hey, you know, where's the RAM? You guys remember the RAM from the trailer from 6 years ago? 6 years and they can't develop a RAM? So I think it's kind of good that he's going back and trying to tackle those things ahead of time to try and, contend with those points. I think that's a good idea. Also, it just looks fun to ride around on this thing. We also see the Yeti boss, which I don't believe will be in the game. Most of the bosses, if any of them, probably won't be in the game for early access launch, but I imagine there'll probably be a couple added early-ish on. It sounds like Simon's pretty excited about instance to dungeons and bosses and that kind of stuff. It sounds like it's going to be a big part of the game's main gameplay loop. So I have a feeling we'll probably be seeing that stuff pretty soon. Yeah, this shot when I watched the trailer for the first time all those years ago just blew my mind. I just thought, oh my god, you could do that? And then I found out they were making this in Java, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way. That can't be. I mean, hey, maybe they haven't. Maybe this was a cinematic thing, but even so, it just looks cool. I'd also just like to, again, reiterate how cool the world gen looks behind the Yeti over there. Just seeing the mountain with all that atmospheric perspective applied to it. Nice skybox full of little paintbrush-style clouds. Oh, I just love it. I love these shots of this like tropical island. It really reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 1. Actually, looking at it now, I wonder if they kind of like took some inspiration from Kingdom Hearts 1 for the layout. But I mean, it's a beach. You know, there's only so many ways you can do a beach, but it does look lovely, doesn't it? Looks very very fun, very cozy. The trees look a little funky with the palm fronds, and this one in particular is. That's an interesting shape. I imagine that sort of tree probably won't make the final cut. Or if it does, who knows, maybe they'll fix it later. But also the water looks absolutely lovely here. You see a little bit of fishing here, which they said isn't quite ready, but they're hoping to get that worked in at least some basic form for now. Yeah, you see some more foliage, some vines. It's a very nice vine spray. Another little island over there with a volcano. Yeah, all this looks quite nice. I know Simon has been talking a lot about how the ocean is really one of those things that's like pretty far behind to not expect a lot from. But you know, they'll definitely work on it. I know how much people love the ocean in Minecraft and how they always were begging for updates for it. So I'm sure people will probably be talking about the ocean a lot, and they'll probably get to work on it. It's not something I'm too worried about. You know, as long as you've got water and fish, I'm kind of good for a while. You know, I wouldn't consider it a top priority personally. But hey, you know, it looks nice so far. They got coral and everything, and it looks pretty. There's probably some prefabs if I had to guess, but you know, I guess we'll find out. You also see some coconuts over there. I wonder if you can shoot them down, or if you can throw little pebbles. I wonder if you could toss one up and knock one down. That'd be kind of fun, right? Then you could have it hit your friend on the head and knock him out for a second. Yeah, I don't think the ocean's gonna look quite like this. I do like the Finding Nemo composition of fish over here, though. I appreciate that. What this pufferfish does is really nice. You do see a sunken ship. Yeah, some caves. Minecarts, I guess they just added back in, which I was kind of worried about, because I love minecarts. I love building roller coasters in Minecraft, and any game, really. I just love minecarts. I just think they're so fun, and I always wish that Minecraft had a little bit more going for it. And they're a little bit buggy, especially on Bedrock. So hopefully there's a little bit more to them in this game eventually, but even if they're just in there in some basic form for now, I just like having them for decorative purposes too. But they're also probably going to help on some level with automation eventually. I think that's promising. That's very promising that they got them in there. The little chump looks fun. Got a little dungeon entrance here. So, I don't know exactly what these creatures are called. Kind of goblins. Maybe they're chorks, but I don't think so. But they look like a lot of fun to fight. I will say this little bomb here is reminding me of those terrible mobs in Hades that just, in, what is it, Asphodel, that just lob bombs nonstop, and then you got the pots running around doing the same crap. Oh, I hope these guys aren't like them. We've seen that guy recently. No comment on the spider. This is one of the behemoths of the Outlander faction, which is a faction of like humanoid people that have pretty much formed cults and become corrupted by this void magic in lore, you know. But they have a few different versions of these guys, and this one is like a huge behemoth with you know, massive sword and everything. It's very intimidating. It's kind of cool though to see just how varied the mobs are in this game. You know, you look at something like and I hate making comparisons to other voxel games all the time. Please forgive me, but it kind of reminds me of like 7 Days to Die, where you know it's just it's kind of just all zombies. You know, a lot of them are the same. Yeah, you got a few different variations, and it's getting better nowadays. But for a long time, there wasn't a lot of variety. And I think it's just so important, especially in a game like this where combat appears to be a pretty big focus. I think it looks really good that way. Alright, you got some magic weapon usage. Nice little dungeon. Some chests, loot. So this is one of the things that we probably aren't really going to see right away outside of unofficial servers. But I think unofficial servers, I mean, Minecraft's had unofficial servers pretty much as the bulk of its servers for all time, and look how well it's done. I don't think official servers are necessary for the game to have a successful online community. But, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's definitely a lot of people that are going to be bummed about it. But me personally, I do a lot more single player and, like, playing with friends in a little world kind of deal. I don't do a lot of this constant minigame stuff. I love it. It's fun. Like, when I've played, you know, Bed Wars and everything, don't get me wrong, I have an awesome time. It's just, I'm okay with leaving it off the table for a little while. But, you know, I think it looks pretty good. You know, that way, I think there's a lot of cool tools for servers. I'm definitely curious to see what crops up in the first couple of months of early access. See what people whip up for servers. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give some of them a try. You know, nice little hub area. You see some emotes there. We're still not sure if those made the cut. I'm sure there'll be a couple, but that's something that people have been asking about. Minigames look fun. I'm definitely excited about that. this little shot here, I don't know how much of this is, machinima magic or whatever, but if it's truly like you could do stuff at this level, like Dreams or Little Big Planet, come on. That's that on top of what is clearly already a fantastic game. It's going to be huge. It's going to be bigger than sliced bread. But, I guess we'll have to wait and see if this level of modding is available anytime soon. I know they said it's not where they want it to be, but to be honest, everything I've seen so far looks pretty promising. And most importantly, looks pretty accessible, which I think is a huge selling point. Here you can see there's a couple of things in a row here. So you can see here, they got some tools for animating mobs and creating mobs, and it looks really, really cool. I've never been a huge mod maker myself. I'll make some maps. I love building stuff. I love making things. I've never really had any programming or 3D modeling knowledge. I was always more of a 2D artist myself. And I like designing things, but actually making them work and going in there and doing the problem solving and the nitty gritty has never been my strong suit. But honestly, Hytale makes it look kind of tempting. I might have to learn some stuff. I don't know. It all looks pretty accessible, so I might give it a shot. Maybe I'll make. I'd love to make some stuff for like Stargate or something like that. That would be really cool. I would love to make a little Stargate mod. All right. Oh, hey, I didn't know we had a shot of this. So there's some concept art of this corrupted stone golem at kind of the center of like a elemental palace or something it's called. It looks awesome. I actually didn't realize we had seen that before. That's really cool to see. Okay, here you got a little example of the old version of the map, I guess. Nowadays, they didn't like the way the map was working, so they actually rebuilt it. So they got a new map, and it looks really good. This one looks cool, too. I do kind of like the way the depth of it looks, and you got quest markers and everything, and some social features that I don't think have been added to the new map quite yet, but, I'm sure that stuff will all come in time. I'm not too worried about it, but, I find it interesting that there's a set quest set up like this. That's interesting because, there's not a lot of that stuff in the game right now, from what it sounds like. So it's just kind of cool to see it in action, to know that it's possible, and it's probably not that far away to have at least the infrastructure for this kind of stuff, so that way mod makers and map makers can kind of implement it. But yeah, that looks good so far. You got character creation. This has been a subject of discussion a lot lately too, where people are kind of upset that you can't do fully customizable paint-it-yourself skins like in Minecraft. But I'm not too bothered by it. Honestly, this kind of looks better. You don't have to stress out about learning how to draw to make your own skin. You can pick from a bunch of cosmetics. And also, it would kind of undermine the value of the cosmetic inclusive packs for the game, where you could pay either $20 for the base game, $35 to get some cosmetics, or $70 to get a lot more cosmetics. Honestly, it also looks pretty expansive so far, so I'm not too worried about being limited by this. Character creation is really the lowest of priorities at the moment. This feature, I think he said they've kind of found a workaround to maybe get it in. It might not be there for early access, but or it might not be there for the launch of early access, but I do hope it makes it in. I think it's a really cool idea, and definitely something that a lot of people would be excited to have. I don't know if I have much of a use case for it, but not to mention, just think about all the ways you could use this in potentially adventure maps, Just being able to play video. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot that could go wrong with this kind of feature, but as long as there's some level of protection or moderation in place, you do everything at your own risk, but as long as there's some level of that in place, it's a pretty cool feature. I think you could do a lot with this, and it just looks like fun, Just have Hytale be this nice social hub. I think of all the times that I've been apart from people, and we've just been able to hang out by connected together in Minecraft. My fiance and I used to, be in pretty much a long-distance relationship over Minecraft. And having it as your sole hangout place, it'd be cool to have stuff like this, where you can do this and not have to use external programs and whatnot. Combining things, condensing them like that, it's really useful. That convenience kind of acts as a social lubricant, So I think that's actually a lot cooler than people might even realize. Of course, all these creative tools, there's a huge video out. It's like 26 minutes. I might cover it if I can, but yeah, all of this looks unbelievably good. And just from this, it looked awesome. I didn't realize how deep it all went. The video they released looks absolutely insane. I want to build stuff in this game so bad now. I wasn't sure if I was really going to be like into making adventure maps and whatnot, but I feel like I've got to at least give it a try. It looks just fun, you know. Forget easy; it just looks fun, and that's really what makes the big difference in the end. Live scripting is still in the game. You can change things and see them update in real time. Another thing that I think is absolutely massive. From what little mod making I have done in the past on other games like Rivals of Aether, boy, that would have saved me some trouble. I think that's gonna be really, really nice to have. That's one we're gonna feel a lot in the long term. Got some skeleton fighting. There's a void dragon, and that's it. Looks absolutely awesome, doesn't it? I can't believe it's back. Oh man, all that excitement I ever had for the game is just fully reignited. You know, it looks so good. I would highly recommend visiting the Hytale.com if you get the chance. That site has a lot of information. If you're just finding out about this game, or if it's been a little while for you and you're kind of rediscovering it, go on there, read some old blog posts, go look at the concept art. They've even got HD wallpapers for you if you like some wallpapers. It's honestly it's a pretty solid little website for an indie game. You know, it's got a lot of content on there. And as of right now, they're back to posting regular blog posts since the game has been saved. There's already 3 up. They're all pretty good. They've got videos included in them. I would definitely recommend you go have a look at this website if you get the chance. But that'll just about do it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel, bring you guys a little bit more Hytale content and coverage. This was a lot of fun. It was actually kind of cool going back and looking at the original vision and seeing that this vision is back to life, finally, you know, after years of uncertainty and silence. It's looking really good. So that'll do it for this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.